Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ServiceNow 911. In the series of Meet Expert, today we have a special guest. She is an expert in finding best ServiceNow talent, and she is doing it from last 20 years. Yes. So today she is going to reveal the secrets of how you can prepare yourself for best ServiceNow clients, best ServiceNow customer, and that too across the globe. So please welcome Global Delivery Director, Linking Humans, the number one ServiceNow partner in recruitment, Farrah Wells. So Farrah, thank you so much for joining today. And I really appreciate giving us time on this opportunity. And, can you please give a bit of your introduction? Though I have already introduced you, but from you also.
Yeah, so thank you so much. This is so exciting to be on this podcast today. It's a real honor. So my name is Farrah. I'm the director for Linking Humans. We are a specialist ServiceNow recruitment agency. We have global presence. So anybody who works in the ServiceNow space, whether they're developers, architects, pre-sales, engagement managers, project managers, delivery managers, anybody who works in the ServiceNow space who's looking for a job, or for companies that are looking to scale their teams in ServiceNow, do reach out to us. So that's us, Linking Humans. But yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's a real pleasure. I've been following you on your YouTube channel for a while now. It's very exciting.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And likewise, I'm also very thankful to you. So, Farah, let's start with this conversation. So let me
Sure.
present my first question. How you see ServiceNow technology in a recruiter's view? Can you please compare it with the other technologies, if possible, with respect to money, requirement, and future?
Absolutely. So, look, I've been in IT recruitment for over 20 years now. I started in 2001, and I've seen the evolution of technology. When I first started, I was recruiting for 4GL programming languages, Uniface, Infomix, PIC, Progress.
Okay.
Some of those don't even exist anymore. So I've kind of seen the evolution. But you know what? ServiceNow, we've been doing this, specializing in ServiceNow recruitment now for a while now. And honestly, it's an amazing place to be. If anybody's looking to join, I always get, parents coming to me and saying, right, my
Oh,
youngster has graduated. Which technology, field should they go in? I always will recommend ServiceNow because, there's a real demand in the marketplace for these type of resources, and there's a lot of opportunities. So for example, if you enjoy being a consultant, you enjoy business problems, there's avenues for you there. If you really enjoy the technical aspect, you love coding, it's a passion of yours, there's development roles.
okay.
It doesn't matter what kind of role you want, whether it's more business analysis, project management, whether you want to go into sales, there is something there for everybody. And the platform is just growing strength by strength. There is that the biggest thing is there's the demand outweighs the supply, and that is for somebody looking to join an industry, you don't want the pressure that when you're looking for a job, you're struggling because there's too much competition, right? So
Right.
it is very much a candidate driven market where candidates get to have the choice of employers. So I think it's amazing, and ServiceNow as well offers a lot of help for anybody that's new. So there's the Now platform, the learning platform. There's so much documentation that's out there. There's the community as well, the ServiceNow community that people can, ask questions. And you know what? One thing for me personally, the thing that
Okay.
I really got me really excited about when I was choosing, because when we started Linking Humans, we were kind of generalist IT recruiters. And then we said, look, we need to really focus and specialize in one technology. And part of the reason why we chose ServiceNow, obviously it's an amazing platform, but was the people that are involved in that industry. They are honestly some of the nicest people that you'll ever come across that work in IT.
Right.
And that was really important for us as an agency, because for us speaking all day every day to people in that space, it was really important. So yeah, some of the nicest people that you'll get, really helpful, never too busy. And it's a great environment to be in, so highly recommend it.
Yep, definitely. And with respect to people, I must say, like, I have, like, reached out to many people in ServiceNow, including Jack and all. So they are responding,
Yeah,
and they are responding on time. So this is
yeah,
a good
definitely.
thing.
Yeah. And you know what? Even like when I started my podcast, I was a bit nervous thinking, oh God, no, everyone's already too busy, right? No one's going to have time. No one's interested. But my God, like people really have the time to help. It's not like everybody is super busy. It's not
Yes,
like they're not busy. They are busy. But when somebody reaches out for help, I've never had anyone turn around and say, no, I'm busy, go and ask someone else. That is like the beauty of the whole community. It's a very caring, sharing, open community, so yeah, and there's some really great mentors as well that you can get, that you can reach out to, that you can learn from. So yeah, it's really good.
right, right, great, amazing. So when you responded with this question, so you are talking globally or with respect to US only?
In terms of, sorry, what do you mean, like the demand?
Yes, yes, ServiceNow demand and
Oh,
all.
absolutely. It's global. They're in India itself, ServiceNow is huge. A lot of
Right.
companies, a lot of partners, they've got development centers there. So in India, there's a huge demand. But globally, there's a whole demand. There's demand in Europe. There's a demand in the US, Canada. I mean, we are talking global level here. It's not like, oh, it's just focused on one country or one region. It's very much, there's a global demand. And what the great thing is if anybody is in India and they want to kind of explore and
Yeah.
travel and go and live in another country, there will be opportunities where other companies will be able to sponsor their visas. So there's great opportunities for anybody looking to kind of get some experience, which is in different countries. There's
Yes.
opportunities there, which is great.
Yes, great, great. So, like, whoever is listening to this particular podcast, so you have, certified answer directly from recruiter. So this is, solid answer. I generally
Yeah,
talk about opportunities, but coming from you, it's
yeah,
really a solid answer, and people look forward to it. Great,
yeah,
Farah, let's move
absolutely.
to next question.
Yeah.
So, as a recruiter, whenever you see a profile of a candidate, what is the first thing you look into it whenever you're shortlisting?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think the really important thing is for anyone that's building their CV, their resume, is just to make it, very clear, make it very clear to the employers, to the recruiters, what your CV is about. So let's start with the basics. Okay. So the basics are, let's make sure there's no spelling mistakes, make sure the
Okay.
grammar is all correct, it reads correctly. And basically how you want to structure your CV is, at the top, have your name, have your contact details, make sure your email, your telephone number is on there clearly.
Okay.
And then make sure that you do like a little summary, like a little snapshot to say, look, I've got 12 years ServiceNow experience, in this roles, this is modules that I've used, just a real very quick 4 or 5 lines, just summarizing your whole history. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have your work history listed. So you
Okay.
want the name of the company, the dates that you worked there very clearly, your job title, and then like a paragraph to say your responsibilities. Now, one thing that employers really love to see is, they want to see like, outcome based, like,
Okay.
okay, so I did scripting, but what was the benefit? What did you gain? Like any achievements that you did, right? I by doing this particular project, I saved the company millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So you want to have put down like achievements, what the result of the projects were, because I think that really puts some perspective into things. And just make sure you clearly list out any modules that you work with, any like what versions, etc. And then also you want to make sure you put down your ServiceNow certifications, list them all. If there's too many, just list like the main core ones, and then you can write a little note to say, please look on the ServiceNow portal for a full list, and just make sure that's public. And then if there is any like space, you can also put a skills box. So you can say, I've used this module, like, and how long, how time wise. So that's always quite helpful. And then at the end, references, they're always quite handy, so that employers and recruiters can feel confident that, okay, this person has got somebody that's going to vouch a reference for them as well. So but yeah, I think it's very important to kind of make sure that your CV is clean, clear. Try not to make it more than like sort of 2 to 3 pages maximum. You don't want to have like a CV that's 10-15 pages. If you've got a very long career history, put down obviously the stuff that is absolutely relevant, and you can summarize at the end, like just dates if it's getting too old, if it's over 10 years. So but yeah, hopefully that will help.
Definitely it will help, and people will definitely show what they already did. It's not like the length of the CV, it is your achievements which you have to show. It is your skills which you have to show in your CV.
Yeah.
So let's move to the next question, Farrah.
Sure.
You said that ServiceNow in demand. I agree. So based on your recruitment data and your experience, what are the 3 major roles which are in demand right now in market with respect to ServiceNow?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. So look, I'm going to be honest with you, it's going to be hard to kind of just pick 3 because there is demand across the whole spectrum. So
yeah, top 3
I would always
will work.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, no problem. But look, one thing I will say to everybody is you will do the best job that you possibly can if you love what you do. So even if, for example, it's like, I don't know, let's say you're more of a people person and you like talking to people, you like talking to businesses, understanding the problems, don't force yourself down a role where you won't enjoy it, right? If the role is way, way, way too technical and you're the other way of the spectrum, don't force yourself, because do what you love, because if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay. But let's say like the top 3, I mean, look, consultants are very much in demand. People that can talk to the business, understand their problems, come up with solutions, technical solutions. Consultants are very much in demand, and always will be. That's with AI coming on board as well, it can replace a lot of things, but what it can't replace is that human interaction, right? So consultants for sure. Definitely architects are very, very much in demand as well. ServiceNow architects, they are very much in demand. It's quite a high paying role as well. So I would definitely say ServiceNow architect. And also, I think on that same note, there is a lot of demand for like engagement managers, business analysts as well. I know they're quite separate roles, but people who are working in that space, again, that are very much talking with the business and understanding. I think those roles are very much in demand. But I know in India, there's a huge demand as well for developers.
It is.
Yeah, which in the rest of the world, not so much, because India has become a real focal point for developers. And, I think when you are a developer, it's like you can specialize. So you can specialize in ITOM, you can specialize in GRC, SecOps. These are modules that are massively in demand, CSM. So you can, again, specialize in something. But yeah, I think the key is, look, you've got to do what you absolutely love, because then you're going to love it, you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to do a better job. So yeah, absolutely. Hopefully that answers the question.
Yes, it is. So let's come to ServiceNow certifications. So what weightage clients are giving to certifications when they ask for recruitments with respect to ServiceNow?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, absolutely. I think ServiceNow certifications are important,
Okay.
especially if you are new to the industry. It's your first step. I think if you can get into with a company who's going to offer you training and support to get those certifications, I would say take it hands down. I mean, obviously, you want to start with the foundation. So you want to start with the CSA. That is
Okay.
the foundation that you want to start with. And there's the ServiceNow platform, like the certification program. It's brilliant because what it does, it teaches you the foundations. It gives you opportunities to learn. And you know what? They getting your certifications. What it does, it tells a future employer that look, at least you've done the homework, right? You've gone out, you've learned it, you've spent time. So even if you don't have experience right now, if you've got the certifications, it's one step, one foot on the ladder, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say they are highly in demand. And to be honest with you, most employers do request them because simply it is like a badge of honor, right? It means that you've done the work. They can be confident that you know the theory behind it, and even if you don't have commercial experience, at least they know you've done that part, so then they can build on those foundations quite easily. So yeah, I would say, and to be honest with you, most employers give opportunities to learn, and a lot of employees have access to the training platform.
Right.
So if they give you that opportunity to have like access to it, I would say where you have the time, do as much as you can, because it really will help your career.
Great. Great. So
Mm.
certifications are very important, and
Yeah,
clients are
definitely.
looking into it, looking for it. Great.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like there was somebody I was working with quite recently, and he had very limited experience commercially, like work experience,
Okay.
but he'd done lots of certifications, and that's why other employees were really keen to sort of speak to him.
Okay. Great response, Farah. So let's move to the next question. Please tell us who is an ideal candidate for interview, in the sense like please provide complete interview tips whenever
Sure.
you do interviews and all, especially
Mm.
for ServiceNow.
Yeah, definitely. So interview tips, right? Okay. So I mean, these days a lot of interviews are happening remotely. So it's via
Okay.
Teams or Zoom. So I think the number one thing really is to make sure you've got a solid internet connection, because there's nothing worse than having an interview and it just not working. Um, Especially where roles are remote as well and they expect you to kind of work from home. That's really important. So yeah, just make sure you've got really stable internet connection. That's number one. But also I think, it's they always say it's the people make a judgment in the first 30 seconds, who are
Okay.
you, what are you about, and they do that visually, right? As much as like society we say don't judge a book by its cover, people do. It's just natural
Yeah.
human instinct. So just make sure you're smart. Okay, make sure you dress smart, make sure your hair is neat, your clothes are appropriate for the role. I mean, I always say to everybody having an interview, it's like dress as if you're having a client meeting, because
Right.
that is what the employer is going to look for. They're going to look for, okay, how do you present yourself? Because tomorrow, when I put you in front of my client, the way you look, the way you dress, well, that's how you're going to look in front of them. So
Right.
that's why it's really important to kind of dress appropriately for as if you're going to a client meeting for the first time. You want to make a good impression. But yeah, I think, definitely it's like prepare. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. You could just type in Google like interview questions.
Right.
So then people kind of have standard questions that they ask, like what's been your biggest challenge, what's your weakness, what are your strengths, why do you want to come and work for us? These are questions that you could prepare in advance. And the why do you want to come and work for us question is really important, because companies will ask that to see how much research you've done on their company. Because somebody who says, oh, I don't know anything about your company, that is just a real red flag. So even if you can
Right.
jot down some facts like, oh, well, I know your company has this revenue, you have offices in these many countries, and, you know, just give them some facts. They'll think, oh, okay, at least they've kind of done some research. You know, LinkedIn is a great tool as well, where you can look up the person that is interviewing you and do some research. So, you know, it's like when you're talking to them, you know, at the beginning is always a little bit of chit chat, right? Just to kind of calm the nerves. So what you can do is kind of say, oh, you know, I see that you worked at a previous company, and yeah, you know, and so then it brings some commonality, and they're like, oh, okay, this person is like interesting. And, you know, so it kind of, you know, what they always say is when people are hiring, everybody has very similar skill set. So then they're choosing you on your personality. And, you know, don't forget the employers, you know, they're choosing you because they're thinking, can I work with this person 8 hours a day, 5 days a week? You know, can I do that? And, you know, it's like the likability factor. If they like you, they'll say, you know, we'll look to hire you. So yeah, definitely, I would say do your research, prepare, never go into an interview blind, and, you know, smile. The body language should be like straight and confident. And even, you know, it happens in interviews, you get nervous and you forget, you know, especially if they're asking you a technical question and you forget. If you forget something, just be honest and just say, look, you know what, I do know this, but my mind has just gone blank. I'm really apologize. Can we come back to this? You know, if you don't know the answer to something, just be honest and just say, look, I'm really sorry, I don't know the answer to this one, but, you know, what I would do in a work situation, if this happened in real life, I would go and ask a colleague, I'd look on the internet, I'll try and find out the answer and then try and figure it out. And if not, you know, I'd sort of come to you for help. So at least it's showing them that your steps on how you would answer that. So, but yeah, at all times you should always be honest as well. So
Great, amazing tips. You know, the examples or the tips which you have shared, you cannot find these things on Google or somewhere else, but directly coming from you, it's amazing, and people must be benefited by this. Thank you so much
yeah,
for sharing.
that's okay, no problems.
Yeah. So let's move to the next question. As you mentioned, remote job. So how remote jobs are coming in ServiceNow market? So what sort of things you are seeing, whether clients are fine with remote jobs and all, and they are asking employees to come back. So what is the current scenario?
Okay, yeah, sure. So to be honest with you, like I mean, it's still very much, I would say the percentage is still very much remote. But saying that, since obviously now COVID is kind of finishing and has stopped, there are a lot of employers now are looking at hybrid models. So they're kind of saying, okay, 2 days in the office, 3 days working at home, or, you know, something like that. And, you know, I think office working, you know, it shouldn't be undermined. It really is important because yes, everybody can have meetings on Teams and Zoom and connect, but having that real person sat next to you that simply you can turn your chair and say, hey,
Right.
what about this, you know, or just sharing ideas, or, you know, even like the small talk we used to have by the water cooler, right? It's like, hey, you know. So I think, you know, I think there's a real benefit of having the team together. But, you know, to be honest with you, the world has evolved, you know, and rightly so. It should evolve, you know, the technology is there to support it, and you know, the world should evolve. And, you know, so there is, I think now it's kind of coming into being that nice balance. I remember pre-COVID, it was very much fully
In
office
office.
based, and
Right.
you know, it was hard to recruit because, you know, unless, you know, people had to move homes, they had to leave their families, you know, there was only so many people that lived in an area, so it was hard for employers. So I think the world of remote working has opened up a lot of opportunities for employers as well. And yeah, but I think with employees themselves, I think you need to really build that community, you know, yourselves. You know, if you are 100% remote, is make sure you still have that kind of element where you can openly, you know, discuss things and, you know, have catch ups, and just make sure you're not missing out on that side of things as well, because I think that's really important.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. So with this, I'll come up with my last question.
Sure.
So till now, which is the most demanding, module in ServiceNow as per your experience, needed by every client or most of the clients?
Mm, definitely. Well, I think obviously ITSM is the foundation, it's the core, it's the bread and butter, right? So I think
Okay.
ITSM is definitely the starting point for anybody who's
Okay.
joining the industry. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of modules out there that are highly demanded because it's much more harder to find people in those jobs. So there is a lot of demand, but definitely SecOps, GRC, ITOM, CSM,
Okay.
HRSD, these are all modules, SPM as well. They're all modules that are highly in demand.
Okay.
And I would definitely recommend, get obviously ITSM, have it because it will make sure that all the doors are open. But I think once you are a bit more experienced, established, you know, look around, do your own research because things change, right? We might have this conversation today, but this time next year, a different module might be very much in demand. So do your research, like go on like job boards, right? Type in, look at like type in, I don't know, ServiceNow developer, and then see what modules companies are hiring for. And that kind of gives you that real market data, but also you can reach out to your recruiter. Reach out to them and say, look, hey, I want to specialize in a module. Which one is the most up to date today? And your recruiter will be able to tell you there and then, well, you know what, in today's market right now, it's this particular module, so, but things change very quickly in
Right.
the world of IT. It changes so fast. So, it's a case of always keeping up to date. But if you can kind of, get that kind of overall kind of knowledge, as many modules as you can under your belt, it will always help. There's never going to be any problems there for you then getting a job. So
Great response, Farah. And people definitely uh, prepare their strategy according to the modules which you have shared. So
yeah,
Farah, like with this, I'm done with my questions. And I must say the session was amazing, and
thank
all your
you.
answers, like having that essence of those 20 years of your experience, and definitely it will benefit most of the people. And
Absolutely.
yeah, before we wind up, anything you want to say with respect to anything which I have left?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Look, I just think like ServiceNow is it's an amazing technology, right? So it's an amazing platform. Anyone who's looking to join it, anyone who's already experienced in it, it's like it's great. There's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of future in it. And I just feel like now is the start, right? I just feel like now it's really like kicking off. And yeah, I would highly recommend it. And for anyone who is looking for a job as well, Linking Humans, we are a specialist ServiceNow recruitment agency.
Right.
You can find us on LinkedIn. You can look at our website. It's www.linkinghumans with an S on the end.com. So yeah,
Okay.
you can always reach out to us and we would love to help. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but
Great.
thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Same here. Same here. And I see you also doing postcards. So all
Yes.
people, please go there and you'll get amazing stuff. I have seen
Yeah.
Chuck and there are a few other people who are technical. So great start and all the best for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's my podcast Beyond the Title Conversations ServiceNow's Elite. It's more it's about having people who are leaders in the ServiceNow industry sharing their stories and their like mindset and their visions. And it's brilliant because everybody's got such a unique journey. I've interviewed like founders of partners. I interviewed Chuck Tomasi. I've interviewed people that work, ServiceNow customers, and it's just fantastic just to hear everybody's views on like the platform, but also how they reached to where they are today. So anyone that wants to kind of be a leader of ServiceNow, definitely tune in because there's some real golden nuggets that you can hear. So, but yeah,
Right.
hopefully, Amanda, you'll link it below in the description. So yeah,
Sure.
reach out.
I'll do that.
Amazing. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Same here, Farah. Thank you.